my old list. They shouted me out in their tweet, which was really nice of them. Why can I not be on blurry? They shouted me out in a tweet, which was really nice of them. And I think, but I do still think it's good to update the list with a white sideboard splash. Crispy, thank you for the 4 months. Appreciate you. All right, I guess we're just blurry today, huh? Really liking this deck. I think this is good. Good way to update the sideboard. Obviously, the mana base is a little different now too. Hand's very powerful, very slow on the draw as well. I think we're very likely to keep. There's also some argument for playing Urza Saga on turn 1, where on turn 3 we get to go Manufactor, tap Cookbook. And I think if I think my opponent's on a fast deck, that's probably something we're gonna do. And it looks like they are playing Living End. Living End has been so popular lately, and also pretty annoying. I'm gonna play the Saga on turn 1 here, getting Cookbook as soon as possible. Discarding cards for Living End does seem pretty important. Could maybe even like just go to discard, but it's probably not quite good. Well, they'll probably discard my Time Sieve, because anything else they discard gets brought back by Living End, which is bad for me because I wanted to have that Time Sieve in the hand to take infinite turns after getting 2 Manufacturers in play. Trader Joe, thank you for 3 months. How'd the challenge go? We went 2-2. I think we played well. I think the deck was performing pretty well. And we took some L's that I think were going to be pretty hard to avoid. I'm definitely really liking the Rocket deck, where it's like, even if we're playing against like Fury decks, Murktide, Omnath, like it feels like we've got a lot of game in those matchups, and even if we're losing, we're still brawling, which is like, this is the first time I've ever felt that when playing a this is the first time I've ever really felt that when playing a, so get Cookbook, cast Manufactor. Sorry, first time I've ever really felt that dynamic when playing a, what's the word I'm looking for? When playing a Devoted Druid, like small creature-based combo deck, where it's just like so often you play these strategies and they just bolt you and heat you and fury you and solitude you out of the game. But this Rocco version has like absolutely felt like you just always have stuff to do with your mana. You're brawling. You're able to fight through furies. Liking it a lot. Okay, gonna Manufactor in the yard. Put some game objects into play pass. I know that we could have cast the Asmo, but I'm kind of like worried about overcommitting a little too much into a Time Sieve. Although here, I think I like going Cookbook. Oh, it's tough. So let me play the Shredder. And in order to cast Asmo, I have to discard. And I really feel like discarding the Manufactor is just so nice here. It's weird to discard it because it's obviously something we really want to play. But the fact that now if they Living It, we just get 2 Academy Manufacturers into play. I think that's probably a little too good to pass up on. And now this Time Sieve is pretty nuts. Yeah, I think I'll also go ahead and just cast this Cookbook immediately so they can't grief it. I could also maybe discard Asmo in response to Living In now. How about casting Shredder on turn 3? Casting Shredder let you discard out the combo. If we cast Shredder on turn 3, we could that could have maybe been a better line, yeah. It's interesting. Okay, they're returning Architects of Will with their turtle. Jeez. Strictly 1 year. Happy anniversary, dude. Welcome back. Glad you're liking the stream. Well, if my opponent casts Living End, they can grief the Time Sieve, so I'm kind of hoping that if they're casting it next turn. Although it seems like my opponent's stumbling a little bit, which in some ways is kind of frustrating, just because there's like a lot of there's a lot of games where you're playing against Living End, you're like, oh, if my opponent is if they just stumble here, then I have a chance. But this is a game where I could win even if they weren't stumbling. So I wish that we were playing one of those games. We're probably casting the other Asmo this turn actually, just to get another cookbook in play for the Time Sieve. Fats with the 18 months, appreciate ya. Yeah, you can use a Twitch Prime subscription to subscribe with Twitch Prime, I think. Let's get to connive the Daredevil away, get a little bit of value.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
So we get to make another food, take an extra turn. Then we have another. Our next turn is pretty free, where we can sack our 3 food tokens and our clue token. Let's see what we draw here. Another Asmo, okay. So I like that. We'll play a second Shredder. I think we'll just go discard the first 3 times. Yeah, the webcam is a bit blurry. I need to just buy a new camera probably, because this one is freaking out because I'm moving around so much. So I guess, are we casting this Emry? We're probably casting 4th cookbook. Yeah, 4th cook. I mean, this is infinite turns, where we get to, like, next turn just play Emry. Then we're making 4 foods a turn and Emrying back something for the extra turn. Not that we need to take that many more turns to win the game here. Okay, awesome. Up a game against Living End. You know, I have cut the Flusterstorms from the sideboard, largely because, like, this matchup is not that bad, where you have Emry to fill up your graveyard, you have Ledger Shredder to, like, loot creatures into the yard, you have Asmo to discard cards into the yard. I have definitely found this matchup to be not that bad, and consequently, I think it's okay for, like, to make room for, like, the answers to permanence. Like, Flusterstorm is one of the main cards we're cut here. I do now have an outdated, or maybe not outdated so much as, like, just the Demir version sideboard guide available on Channel Fireball. That exact 75 did top 8 this Sunday's challenge. You can, find a list for that on Channel Fireball. But here I was cutting the Unearth, cutting the Spellbomb, cutting the Springleaf Drum. Although now that I have Teferi Time Raveler in my sideboard, I'm not going to be cutting the Springleaf Drum. I might be cutting the Shadowspear. So Shadowspear does win you some games against Living End, surprisingly, but I think probably not enough to really want here. Were we supposed to attack first? Oh, and they were supposed to connive first because it's an extra point of power on the Shredder. I think a Shadow Mortality over Death Shadow and a Demir Shadow build, harder to kill, more mana values, retain indulgence, enough control to wait, and better versus Living End. I'm not really sure how it's, like, better versus Living End necessarily, but in my opinion, Shadow Mortality is unplayable in Modern outside of. I'm looking at this too. Okay, guess we're going to 4. Okay. Then do we just keep 3 lands, Soul Guide Lantern? Are we putting Time Sieve back? Probably putting Thoughtseize back. Then we can either put back Daredevil or Lantern. Put back the Daredevil. So yeah, the problem with Shadow of Mortality is this card is a threat in like these tempo, aggro, whatever you want to call, like, this archetype, right? It's a threat in these kind of decks that is never castable on turn 2, almost never castable on turn 3, and, like, in your good draws, castable on turn 4. And so it's like, a card like this, a threat that is just, like, never castable till turn 4, oftentimes just till turn 5, is, in my opinion, just not quite playable. Especially, like, when your big payoff is a 7/7. It's a 7/7. In Modern, you can get a 2-mana flying 8/8 that comes down faster than Shadow of Mortality. Doesn't require your life total to be super low in Murktide Regent. So I was kind of hoping to get that off the Urza Saga next turn. But we'll get our Nihil Spellbomb. Pretty good draw, obviously. You ever Saga on 1 there? Not on a mulligan to 4, I think. Not on a mulligan to 4. For Delta Victor, 13 months. My subscription is officially a teenager. Time for acne and an attitude, bro. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I do think Shadow of Mortality is specifically playable in Calibrated Blast, which is a kind of an odd exception. All right, Force, not the worst Force of Vigor against a mulligan to 4. I'll tell you that. And if we can get this Emry down, I'm feeling pretty good. Mahone only has 1 card in hand, and they have no creatures in the graveyard. So we could discard our Asmo to cast Emry this turn. I feel like against an opponent who's stumbling, this is worth it. Especially when discarded Asmo does have value in this matchup because of Living End. See if that Blue Red Devon Pioneer. Any changes to original list? I don't think so. Not at the time of making this comment. No. All right, so we got a Spellbomb in play. Pretty good mold to 4, huh? All right, up a game. 1-0 on the day. Obviously, the sideboard change is not a huge change, but the deck has been performing really well. Someone just top 8 a challenge with the Demir 75. Not of the opinion that we really needed to reinvent the wheel with this list. Just kind of update the sideboard a little bit. This hand has a lot. There's a lot going for it. We're on the draw. I think I'll kind of somewhat reluctantly keep. But just got Lowsfield, Moby Killy. I had the hardest time with mulligan decisions. Any tips? I mean, mulligan decisions are always so complicated and modern, especially in that deck. I've written some guides on Lotus Field, some tips on mulliganing there. But for the most part, Lotus Field is definitely a higher variance control deck to what a lot of people are used to, and you can't just kind of keep any hand with lands and spells and hope to be good. You really have to keep a hand that's at least somewhat cohesive, Yeah, Ed has been demolishing these challenges lately. It's been awesome. I'm so proud of him. Okay, on the draw against with a slow hand against their turn 1 Ragavan. Feels bad, huh? Yeah, I heard that someone top 8'd the challenge with the Monkeyless Murktide list. You saw it here first, folks. You saw it here first. I at the very least, I feel somewhat validated in my weird, crazy brain, thinking, is it just ridiculous to cut Ragavan for Murktide? And I'm not of the opinion it's definitely correct to cut Ragavan for Murktide. It is, but I am now of the opinion that it at least feels somewhat of a meta game call, personal preference, reasonable way to build the deck where you just get to play all flying creatures and you get to be more resilient to 1 damage removal spells. You get to be way better. I think you're better against Hammer Time. I think you're better in the Mirror, and I think you're better against Yawgmoth specifically. Is what's your matchup spread? Oh, I think you're also better against Omnath too. We were actually just beating Omnath with Ledger Shredder when we were playing that version. Good Ragavan for what? Ledger Shredder is what we cut it for. Yeah, and at the very least, if you are, it's nice. If you're just trying to get into Modern, you don't want to buy Shredders. This is just another or you don't want to buy Ragavans. This is a kind of budget friendly way to get into the format, right? Dude, 3rd Daredevil, so awkward. That being said, we're going to get a cookbook here. Discard a Daredevil. Yeah, I forgot to add my Agent of Bolosses for the grindy matchups today. So there's definitely been some memes you guys have really been sticking to lately. Isn't Ledger Shredder also expensive? It's less expensive than Ragavan. Also, if you were watching this channel towards the beginning of the set release, a lot of you guys, were able to pick up the Shredders on the cheap. I only owned 1 copy of Shredder that was a gift, but I've been playing the card and liking the card since it was literally 50 cents on this channel. And so maybe you missed out this time, but you can, oh, dude, they have Emry Bauble. Brutal. But you can find the tech for next time. Shredder and Ragavan are the same price. Really? There's I haven't been looking at the price. That sounds not true. Well, put a card on top, probably dead. Technically alive on board, right? Block here, yeah. This is the 4th counterspell. Archmage's Charm. Oh yeah, in paper they're not close. Yeah, maybe ticket wise, but Magic Online economy is like often weird for a little bit, right? So this matchup we're interested in Bone Shards, Teferi, and Needle for engineered explosives. We usually want to go down on the Time Sieve combo, down on Manufactor. I usually cut the Springleaf Drum in this matchup, but now cutting the Springleaf Drum is awkward if I want to bring in Teferi. But what if I just don't bring in Teferi? Is that crazy? It's probably crazy. Just have to figure out a new sideboard plan. I need the Unearth. Unearths are really good. I need the Needle, especially because they also bring in Graveyard Hate. I don't really think I can cut Bauble. I could maybe cut some... I could go trim Shredders. So I think you can trim one Manufactor. I don't think you can really trim too many more than that. Maybe we actually just cut that. We go down to 1 Time Sieve, 2 Shredder. It's probably fine. Impulse to 22 months. Appreciate you. What are Zach's worst matchups? I think Tron, I think, is the worst matchup. Glimpse combo's pretty bad. I think I can keep this. I'm just not sure if I want to. I'm gonna keep this hand. I'm gonna play Cookbook on turn 1. It's just a question of, do I cycle Bauble? Because if I draw a land, I'm gonna want to go Shredder, Bauble, Connive, and if I draw a spell, I can just go Emry turn 2, Bauble turn 3. It's probably. I think I should Bauble turn 1. No endings, yeah. Like in this matchup, like we bring Bone Shards, we already have some removal, and then like ending exiles, specifically Ragavan, Dragon Rage's Channeler, and like Shredder if they're playing Shredder, which they probably are playing some copies. But like you really just like you have Asmo to clean those up. Like you can actually like contend with those cards in combat. In my experience, like those are just like not the cards that you should be super worried about. Which version of Rakdos, the best version of Rakdos? I'm liking the no... I mean, I've been playing no DRC, Season Pyromancer, Liliana. I've liked that version, I just haven't played it in a long time. Oh, I was probably supposed to crack on my turn, because if I drew Daredevil, I could discard to get extra food. Okay, so let's go discard Manufactor. And... I think I want to Unearth Manufactor on a turn where I can immediately tap a Cookbook. Next turn, probably. Milling over Daredevil's pretty nice. Milling over 2 lands, I'm more ambivalent about. That being said, if we draw a land, we're in good shape. If they don't have a removal spell for Emry, we're in good shape. They do have a removal spell for Emry. Here's hoping that they just tap out this turn. No such luck. Well, just play Cookbook. Resolves. Can start making food, and you know, in these kind of spots where you have a Time Sieve in your hand, funny, only set it down to 1, but when you have a Time Sieve in your hand and you're just like passively making like 2 food a turn, you're setting up for a pretty good moment to go off. In fact, even if my opponent actually ever taps out here and we draw a land, we can go Time Sieve, take an extra turn, then Unearth Manufactor, win the game immediately. So like, assuming my opponent completely taps out, we definitely win the game if we draw a land. And with them only having, oh, looks okay. They are playing EE on 1 here. We actually might win the game anyways, because we can go, yeah, we can go Unearth Manufactor. Yeah, we just win the game even without a land now that they've tapped out. Holding Bauble also guarantees turn 2 Emry with Shredder upside if that's worth considering. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we beat Subtlety. They need to have a Force of Negation. The prevalence of Murktide, do you think main deck Otawara is better than Beseiju if I have to choose? If you have to choose. I mean, I don't know. It depends on the deck you're playing, man. It's like, like those decisions like do I think still largely depend on like how bad, like how good is an untapped green source, how good is an untapped blue source. It's just like I can't answer that question without knowing what deck you're talking about. But we do win here if they can't deal with the Time Sieve with exactly a Force of Negation. All right. GG. We actually even have a win condition in play. Alright, pretty good turn. It kind of makes me want to bring in second Time Sieve, huh? I don't know. It's just kind of like harder to combo in this matchup, and you don't really need to as much either. Probably shouldn't be too results oriented. I might be kind of interested in like third Shredder over fourth Emry on the draw. Vidosi, 17 months. Appreciate you. Tuning in the Team Recruit 2 list I posted last week. Awesome, awesome. Good luck. Triple Daredevil. Gonna send this one back. Aggressive Control. What's the best sideboard card for the odd combo? Probably Pithing Needle. Alright, let's keep this. Put back to Fairy. Not the best one-lander, but definitely passable. Yeah, do you have the Bone Shards turn 1 Ragavan? Keep drawing extra Daredevils this match, huh? Do you think there's a possibility of Shredder going into Reanimator Shell? We played a Shredder Reanimator Shell last week. It was Grixis. It was playing a lot of, you know, cheaper threats. Okay, so we'll play Cookbook, and they may just pop the Relic immediately here. Snag my Daredevil, but now I'm thankful I have a second Daredevil. Okay, they let me get a Daredevil back. Is Bone Shards most recent change list? No, we had Bone Shards before in the sideboard, but like the big changes were splashing in white for Prismatic Ending and Teferi in the sideboard. Cage, Dumpster's Dog, Hargaden, but yeah, I mean Cage is good against them too, but like I'm assuming in a Grixis deck, like a Cage's in a Grixis control deck, Cage is like not the best sideboard card because you either have Snapcaster or Kroxa. Yeah, we actually don't, because we have two Daredevils, we don't really care about the Relic very much. Like I get to exchange it for Daredevil at some point, but oh wait, hold on, they just tap it now. Right. I mean, I think this is still fine, but sorry, I don't know why I thought that, like, they weren't just going to tap it there. Whatever. Sorry, I'll play a Shredder. Pass. I guess I was supposed to do that after they cast Consider. Could you replace Ragavan with Shredder and Jeskai Murktide? Or are the treasures too valuable? You could. Jeskai Murktide and Blue-Red Murktide are not incredibly different decks. So 4 cards in their hand. Very likely to have a piece of counter magic here. I think I'm just going to cycle Unearth. Maybe find Urza Saga. Nihil Spellbomb. Missed another food. Yeah, well, I was supposed to do it when they tapped the Relic end of turn again, and then I missed it, and I didn't want to do it end of turn. So I did miss another food, yeah. Love for them to pop the Relic. I think they're unlikely to do that, seeing like I'm not like discarding anything to Cookbook, although they already did snipe a Daredevil. So they have Archmage's Charm, maybe just getting tapped Steam Vents. Love to see no Moon effect. They do have Charm. So here I get to make a food. Yeah, I know we missed 2 foods. Please, please, please spare me, chat. Spare me. It's Monday. Okay, so if they have a piece of counter magic, they probably counter the Asmo. Is 1 Mox Amber viable in the deck? Not really, I think. I mean, like, it's not the worst card you could play, but I'm not a big believer in it. Alright, only one card in their hand. Still have some food tokens in play. Definitely not feeling great about our spot. 2 Daredevils exiled. Obviously messed up pretty bad. And Jace, +1. Gonna be very difficult to beat. Can now tap 3 cards in hand. What is that? 2 to have legendary more consistently? I mean, yeah, like you have 8 legendary creatures in the deck, and they all are like removal spell magnets, and then it's like, what are you playing Mox Amber over? Mox Amber doesn't help you fix mana for your sideboard cards, Giganta. If you want to Urza Saga for mana, you can just grab Relic. It's just not like a pretty low power level card. Or no, sorry, it's not low power level. It's just like really easy to exploit. How come Days Undoing controls tier 1 strat Legacy Pioneer but remain unplayable modern? It's just like we get this question a lot, but one, Days Undoing is not tier 1 in Pioneer, or I don't even know that it's tier 1 in Legacy. They're like it's like playable in those formats, but it's just Narset is good in Pioneer and Legacy. Narset is not that good in Modern. It's really not that complicated. Like Narset Days Undoing is like really only ever going to be good in a format where it's good to cast a Narset. Seamus with the 4 months, thank you. That's not true because Asmor can give red mana for Giganta. Sure. It doesn't fix for the white sideboard cards though. But I don't know, if you feel like Mox Amber is a good card in the deck, you're free to put Mox Amber in. This is my opinion. How big a mistake is it to have counterspell in the format? I would say not a mistake at all. I would say the counterspell was a really good addition for Modern, actually. Let's keep this. I'm not sure if I want to play Spellbomb on turn 1 or not. I think I should play it. Special Iterations number 1. Iteration's very good. Iteration's very good. I would say Violent Outburst, Expressive Iteration are like probably like the only 2 cards that you could like realistically like have everybody agree on are top 5 cards in Modern. I think probably there's probably like other cards you could argue pretty consistently for top 10, but those 2 are probably 2 you could probably convince most people. Okay. So we're playing against 4-color Yorion, which I have actually found to be a really good matchup. I have beaten this matchup on like mulligans to 4, mulligans to 5. I've beaten this matchup in games where my opponent has a Wrenn and 6 besaged me like 6 or 7 times. I have liked this matchup. I'd love for them to trigger Kanai for me here, although I think they're pretty unlikely to. Let's go. Do you think Teferi is a necessary evil? I guess I don't necessarily understand the question. I think that Teferi Time Raveler is really poorly designed cards. I think it makes gameplay worse. I don't think that it necessarily... I don't think there's necessarily anything in Pioneer that the card polices super well, but I do think that in... sorry. Yeah, in Modern, I don't think there's anything it polices super well. Yeah, I'm not a like Teferi Time Raveler defender, I guess. Yeah, Cookbook was a pretty sick draw. If anything, I'm a Teferi Time Raveler hater. So we're gonna sack the Spellbomb into turn to have something for Emry, I guess. Cascade. I mean, Teferi Time Raveler doesn't like keep Cascade in check, really. Like there's... It's, 3 mana lock pieces can't keep Cascade in check. It's just like, it's Force of Negation, Disputed, it's just too slow in the draw. Hey Graham, thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody from Graham's stream. I was chosen by heaven. Okay, so we'll Spellbomb the Heath to go for that this turn. Agreed needs to go. Yeah, I'm not, this isn't necessarily me advocating for the ban, but it is me saying if Teferi Time Raveler were banned in Modern, I would shed no tears. No tears would be shred by me. Only ledgers would be shredded. Hope they don't have Ephemerate. Ephemerate would be pretty bad here. Ephemerate is had. Brutal. You said exactly the same thing about Luris. Yep, I did. I like to think I am relatively consistent with my thoughts and beliefs. Let's get the Springleaf Drum here, I think. Guess we can hide the white sideboard plan too. They are going to get to Ephemerate something, but at least we get to just put, you know, 3 scary things into play and, you know, let them pick the one they're most scared of. I think that's better than doing nothing this turn. So they should exile the Shredder here, lest they allow me to connive again. Although I guess I didn't say exactly the same thing about Luris, because I actually did advocate for a Luris ban for. I said that about Luris for a while. Then there was a decent while where I was just straight up advocating for Luris ban. I advocated for a Luris ban for 6 months before it actually was banned. Beardsley again with the 4 months. Daniel with the 4 as well. Love to see same month or same time subscriptions back to back. Then Jerky with the 19 and Kerbros with the 29. Let's go. Thank you guys. Yeah, old border baubles only exist on Magic Online. So can we expect to see Teferi banned in 6 months? I get these kind of questions constantly. I don't know what you want me to say to questions like this. Can you imagine if I just said yes or no to expecting to see a Teferi Time Raveler ban? The only answer is I have no idea. I don't work for Wizards, you know? It's predicting a ban in Modern is just anybody who's telling you what is or isn't going to get banned is just they're just deluding themselves, you know, lying to you. It's just it's not based in any kind of reality or facts or anything. It's not based on anything. They're saying you have an influence. Surely nobody is saying that my influence can get Teferi Time Raveler banned in Modern. If you sincerely believe that, I think you are flattering me, maybe, but completely wrong. I think I'm supposed to probably beat Asmo the Solitude so I can kill the Wren. Oh, I milled my 4th cookbook, missed that. Okay, so in this matchup, I've been bringing in 1 Thoughtseize, 2 Bone Shards, but now I've got these white sideboard cards I don't think I really want. Unless they've been on Rest in Peace lately, which I don't really think they have been. But I think I just want to go cut the Shadowspear, cut the Spellbombs, bring in 2 Bone Shards, Thoughtseize. Yeah, there's no announcement coming up. People just are constantly Spike, can you perfectly predict the ban list in the next 6 months, please? Can you predict if this is getting banned, unbanned? Constantly, no matter what the metagame looks like, no matter what's going on or not going on. I just get these questions constantly, and they're usually very unproductive. Yeah, maybe we can predict the ban list for the last 6 months. If anything, like I usually like predict that Wizards is going to be way more conservative and slow with their bannings than they actually are. Not that they are like very aggressive with their bannings in general, but like I didn't think that they were going to ban Lurrus. I thought that they should, but I didn't think that they were going to ban Lurrus. I remember not thinking that they were going to ban Uro or Field of the Dead or Sanctuary. I remember not thinking that they were going to ban Tibble's Trickery. I remember not thinking that they were going to aggressively change the rules for Cascade. I just kind of always expect them to be really slow about everything. And so I'm usually inaccurately able to predict what they do. So on the draw, game 2 against Jorion. This hand's close. I think we have to mulligan though, especially because this matchup's pretty good. We don't need to like keep a bad hand just to hope to get lucky, since the matchup I think is just kind of pretty good. I think Trash for Treasure and the Asmo Shell could be good. I don't really think so. I've spent a decent amount of time trying to explore Trash for Treasure to no success. Okay, love to see Island on top. Any chance you splash red in this deck for iteration? Not really. Like, you already have like tons of grindy potential, and with, you know, Shredder, Asmo, Unearth, and Urza Saga. But like these grindy cards are all synergistic, where in this deck, Expressive Iteration is not only unsynergistic, but it's pretty hard to cast, especially in your Urza Saga deck. And then also, like, you know, like I have no idea what we would cut to add room for iteration. The main deck feels pretty tight to me. Huh. I could potentially leave this Bauble and play for Emry. I guess we'll wait, because if my opponent connives on their turn, then we'll get to make a more, or lets me connive on their turn, we'll get to make a more informed decision. Not that it's super likely they do that. Fury pitch on Holy Heat. Do they have an Ephemerate? No, just good old 3-for-1 off the Shredder. So I guess now we'll just go and crack the Bauble, despite me drawing land being pretty crazy. I think it's probably just better to try to make sure we get to jam something powerful this turn, since my opponent is stumbling a little bit. And this turn seems good to go Shredder, Thoughtseize. Probably discarding Daredevil, but if I draw an Earth, maybe I'll discard Manufactor. Ephemerate would let me connive. Not if they stack their triggers correctly. If they stack the triggers so that the Fury 4 damage resolves before the Ephemerate, then I don't get to connive. The updates are splashing white for sideboard cards, which I think is a pretty good direction to go here. Okay, Endurance, Knight of Autumn, Risen Reef to Fairy. I kind of feel like I need to take the Reef. Where I'm just like pretty bad at killing this card, and like I can let them have Teferi, I can let them have Endurance for my Daredevil. I can let them have Knight of Autumn, which doesn't do very much on this board. But I also know that drawing Fury, so not that I think that changes too much, but I did kind of forget that they were drawing Fury. So we get to Manufactor. Potentially put Daredevil back in my hand, but in order to do this, they have to go Endurance, pitching Knight of Autumn, which would definitely be something I'm okay with. I love that this matchup feels really good. It's just like, unfortunately, not that common that you have a new brew and you feel like I guess I'll discard the Bauble, and you feel like the Omnath matchup is just like really good. Okay, this milling over Cookbook Time Sieve is kind of nuts, actually. Yeah, I don't think that it was probably correct to cast the Endurance there either. Okay, so cast Cookbook, discard Emry. make a bunch of stuff. I think we just sack the Clue immediately. Another Unearth. And then we can potentially unearth the Emry, trigger Connive. But I think I'm probably just okay. Chilling for now. But also had like a really bad draw this game. Fury Pitch Fury. And is currently... It's a Fairy Mystery card. Supreme Strain, thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate you. Best draw Minamo. Best draw's probably Daredevil or Manufactor. Alright, kills Emry. So let's go Unearth Emry, see if we mill over a Daredevil. We do mill over a Daredevil. So now I guess we go discard Unearth. Back to Daredevil, make a bunch of game objects. Play Urza Saga, sack our Clue token. And then nothing to trigger Connive, but we are winning the game next turn if my opponent can't do anything. And even if they can, they're just like so far behind. Don't think they really have anything they can draw. Okay, 2-1. 2-1, kind of punted. Matched you a little bit, huh? Playing against Young Dingo. Known Twitch streamer, Young Dingo. I can keep this hand. Definitely a little slow in the draw, but my opponent's on Multi 6. Was lost to it was to Murktide. We beat Living In, lost to Murktide, beat 4-color Omnath. Pretty standard Modern League, pretty competitive Modern League so far. I have not found the Murktide matchup to be like super bad though. Just made like 2 pretty bad mistakes. Maybe would have lost anyways. Maybe would have won. What do you think is the appropriate sideboard plan for the deck? I like the Esper sideboard a lot. Where like I felt like so many of our losses with this deck before were to like specifically Pithing Needle. Like we didn't see like too many Rest in Pieces or Sanctifier in Vex, but it was really just opposing Urza Saga decks. Had Pithing Needle against me and it was rough. And then also, like sometimes you would lose to a fast Hammer Time start. Like that was definitely like an issue for this deck too. And so it really does feel like the best solution is to splash white, play Prismatic Ending in the sideboard. You also get to play Teferi, which is pretty good sideboard card, obviously. So can we say this is the next big thing in Modern? I don't think we can. No. I at the very least don't like to be that decisive or divisive when it comes to my predictions or whatever. Dude, is this Sentinel Shredder? So probably not Hammer Time. The next big thing in Modern is very rare. It is very rare that like the next big thing in Modern happens. You know what I mean? It just takes a long time. And is this actually Shredder? It is Shredder Hammer. And the reality is, it takes a long time for the Modern metagame to have like a new big tier 1 deck, and it is even more rare to be the one that brews it up. And it is also even more rare for the next new big tier 1 deck to be a strategy like this that is like vulnerable, really vulnerable to sideboard cards. But does that mean that can still be a good deck? I think so, yes. I think so. So I'm pretty sure we're supposed to go for Manufactor and try to combo off next turn against a Hammer Time opponent who got Cauldron, and against a Hammer Time opponent who is unlikely to have that much interaction here. You're right, it takes about 2 years per image set. What was the next big thing, Hammer? No, Hammer was like kind of the big thing like right before MH2. Yeah, I'm trying to think like if there's been any like super big decks that have emerged since Modern Horizons 2, and it's been about a year since MH2, like 11 months. I feel like we're actually like not dead to Hammer. We know the less cards called. You're actually just pretty fine here. I would say like the Omnath decks have like definitely like become very tuned and evolved over the course of the year. Where like, but obviously like Elementals has been around for a while. It's like kind of the same deck, but it's definitely been Tweaked and tuned. I mean, to be honest, like, I think, like, the big thing that happened since MH2 was probably Grixis Shadow. Like, the Grixis Dress Down Shadow deck. Like that was, like, one of the, you know, I'm not trying to give myself too much credit, but, you know, we were on top of that shit. We were really on top of it. Yeah, Tamashi is probably the most recent. Alright, turn 4, infinite turns. But how do we win? Calibrated Blast? Yeah, Calibrated Blast. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think the deck has become, like, recently one that people have, like, started to take pretty seriously, but to be honest, Calibrated Blast has kind of always been, like, better than people have given it credit for. Choose one, cut the Nihil Spellbomb and the Unearths in this matchup. I think I'm probably down to go also -1 Time Sieve and -1 Shredder for 3 more Bone Shards. Just be very heavy on removal. To be fair, I did brew the base of the Shadows with Shadow Spray Dragon. No, I mean, I had, like, even, like, post Spray Dragon, like, I think I was at least the one that popularized Dress Down Grixis Shadow, like, the earlier iterations. But, you know, it's also, like, hard to, like, take credit for anything when it comes to, like, deck building, where there's just, like, always parallel thinking, there's so many people working on stuff, but I think it's pretty safe to say, like, that I at the very least, like, I care less about getting credit for things. I care less about being known as the person who built this deck. As what I care about is that you guys can come to the stream and see, like, a degree of consistency that at the very least I'm able to, like, co-discover these things, if that makes sense. Like, I want you guys to, like, see a consistency. Like, you know, I'm, like, on top of Ledger Shredder, like, one of the first people to, like, really be on Ledger Shredder of Modern, and a lot of different builds. I want you to see, like, a degree of consistency in my card evaluation and my deck building, and that's what I care about. So you guys make a good use of your time by coming to the stream, especially at set release, and you guys have your time used wisely coming here, because I value your time, I value my time, and I care way more about that than any kind of credit or anything, if that makes sense. I think we keep this. It's obviously, like, kind of slow and bad against Hammer Time, but the potential's here, and, like, they're playing a Shredder version, so, like, they may also be slower. They're on a mulligan as well. We have a Ledger Shredder in our hands, so we should be pretty good. Opponents just 3 cards in their hand. I wonder if they were supposed to play the Min-Mine in turn 1. I mean, obviously we don't know the contents of their hand. We have an idea of the contents of Young Dingo's heart. They've been pretty nice. But I feel like if you have Min-Mite, Springleaf Drum, Shredder, you're probably supposed to go Shredder turn 2, then connive into the after you play the Min-Mite. So Needle probably needs to name Underworld Cookbook. And, you know, this we were just talking about this, but it is definitely the case that, like, Pithing Needle specifically has been, like, the difficult card to contend with. Although they may name Aether Spellbomb or Urza Saga. Will Lancers replace Splash White. I got the 4 copies of Darkslick Shores for 1 Godless Shrine, 1 Hallowed Fountain, 1 Marsh Flats, 1 Flooded Strand. Mono Black is new. Yeah, Mono Black deck is new for sure. Yeah, there's been a few, but, like, you know, another thing too is, like, a lot of these decks, like, that we work on here, they did name Underworld Cookbook, which I think is probably the correct name. I think I'm supposed to make a Saga token. But a lot of the decks we work on here, I think, do end up being, like, competitive in specific metagames where it's like you can like pick a lot of the list I work on if you can read that the metagame's a certain way and like find success with it. Which is about like all you can like really like hope for on a consistent basis. Like it is like completely unrealistic to expect to break it with any degree of consistency. Okay, opponent tutored a reality chip here, so maybe I'll needle reality chip. Maybe I'll needle Marsh Flats. I do have Marsh Flats in my deck. If I needle Marsh Flats, they can't put the chip into play. Well, I forgot to bring in my Pithing Needle. Damn it. I guess they're getting Aether freaking Spellbomb. Dude, I forgot to bring in my needle. It's so embarrassing. I take back all the good things I said earlier about the stream. It's actually Big Garbo. Thoughts on the list with ninth and challenge with 2 Street and 2 Time Sieve. Oh, that sounds like maybe that was like the... Was it also playing cat and like oven? Because like there was a list like that 5-0 that was playing no Shredder, no Unearth, 2 Time Sieve, Street Wraith. But like in my opinion, with Shredder you don't need with Shredder. Oh, dude, they're going off. With Shredder you don't need Street Wraith to trigger Connive. That's unnecessary. And like I think you need to play 4 Time Sieve, and like I think it's correct to be on 4 Time Sieve main deck, and then you are going to want to trim some number of these effects post board in order to need to find a Prismatic Ending really fast. You need to trim. You just trim Time Sieves post board in the more grindy matchups, but being like really in on a game 1 I think is correct. Now we're taking infinite turns as soon as we can find an ending for this. So I think I'm going to go Cookbook, Return Daredevil, Bone Shards, kill Stoneforge Mystic, discard Daredevil, Connive. I mean, casting casting Asmo this turn doesn't really do much because the cookbooks are not doing much. So I'll just play my Saga this turn, play Cookbook, and then can potentially attack. They have a 5 toughness blocker, so I think we'll just leave these guys back. Your list with Wraiths taking off Sieves. I think Wraith is for Asmo. Yeah, Wraith is for Asmo. I just don't think that you need it with Shredders. And I really think you should play 4 Time Sieve main decks and like trim copies post board. Okay, Reality Chip. They also have a Hammer in their hand, which we can block. And if they cast Hammer and they don't Stoneforge Mystic, we get to Connive, which is going to give us 1 extra look for the ever important Prismatic Ending, of which we should have 4 in the deck at the moment. If they block, can't you just pump with a Cookbook activation? There's a Pithing Needle named with Underworld Cookbook. If this was not needled, we would have gone return Academy Manufactor and take infinite turns with Time Sieve. They exile my Urza Saga. And they don't actually hammer or attack this turn. Odd. So I think I like going Time Sieve. Time Sieve, sack all my artifacts, take an extra turn, replay Time Sieve, Connive. Or is replaying Cookbook better? I guess Time Sieve is more mana efficient, and I can Otawara or Minamo to get both Cookbooks back potentially next turn. We're really just looking for ending. Full auto with the 11 months. Let's go. Thank you so much. They also get to Connive. Discard a Shredder. Come on, Prismatic Ending. We're 26 cards deep. I guess we can go Cookbook, cast, Connive. Finally found the Prismatic Ending. Although it's like a little too late for the Time Sieve, I think. So we go exile the Needle, Asmo Cookbook, discard. I guess we could take an extra turn. We could take an extra turn. By sacking both cookbooks, the Shadowspear, and both food tokens. So I guess I'll attack first. Yeah, because if they don't block, then if we can kill this, we can win next turn. Assuming I have another cookbook in the deck. Shout out to the White Splash. We just win, right? Because we can go cookbook, get back, and then Minamo, Emry, play a cookbook again, and then we just get to take 2 turns by sacking the Time Sieve to itself. Although I guess it's better to play second Asmo. Assuming we have another cookbook, right? Yeah, one more. Dingo gives us the GGs, and we advance to 3-1 in a very, very difficult gauntlet of Living End into Murktide into Omnath into Hammer Time. Just plowing through the tier 1 decks. Which card do you think is better to drop in Pioneer, Grimflayer, or Blood Tithe Harvester? I really dislike Blood Tithe Harvester. I'm kind of in the tenacious underdog camp at the moment. Perhaps a mullet. Perhaps a mullet. Excuse me. I'm gonna keep this on the draw, put it on against a Mold 6 in the blind. Yeah, I really liked being able to swap between sitting and standing. I've liked the stand for like an hour and a half, sit for like an hour and a half, and then you know, 2 hours and just go standing, sit, stand. I've been liking that. Opponent is named Beast on turn 1, so we're playing against Titan. Yeah, this has definitely been the gauntlet. Living End into Murktide, into Omnath, into Hammer Time, into Titan. Just like just do like kind of like everything you'd expect from a modern league, I guess. And Asmo is like definitely a really important part of this matchup. Just getting Asmo down, killing their creatures. I don't love having a slower hand on the draw against a Grazer, but I do like to see them just casting Relic of Progenitus. Not sure what this is for 2 mana though. Okay, probably should have cast that first. Not like it's a big deal though. They pick up the Cavern presumably, so they're probably going to be casting a Titan 2 turns from now. We can't really do much besides shred. Any plans on writing a CP guide of Mono Black Reanimator? We love a Sideboard guide for the deck. I haven't necessarily planned out my articles for this week. We could potentially do that. I have had a lot of stuff in the backlog though, so we'll see. We'll see. I'll try. I do like that deck a lot too. Okay, I think I'm supposed to Manufactor this turn. And what's nice is if my opponent does Titan next turn, they are thankfully going to be unable to give haste. We're also tapped out of Relic. They don't have any blue bounce lands in play at the moment, which makes Teleria West a little more awkward. We've got some good draws. But I think like outside of like draw cookbook, And then go Cookbook, Asmo Cookbook into Time Sieve. It's going to be unlikely to just like untap win the game. Gator, 9 months. Planning on playing more Mono Red Fires and Pioneer LGS. Any? Yeah, I would play a Strangle over Light of the Night, and I would cut the Pyromancer's Goggles for the 3rd Anger of the sideboard is what I wanted to do with that deck. Urza Saga, okay. So we can go Cycle Unearth, cast Asmo, get Cookbook. We can also go Shredder, Emry. Yeah, I think we have to do that. Definitely not the best enabler for Asmo, but a enabler, huh? Then Drum is kind of interesting. Guess it doesn't really accomplish very much. Might as well cast it. Daredevil's not a unwelcome addition to the hand, I suppose. But we're really gonna have to survive. Is Stream Decker down? It's entirely likely. It's down constantly. And them getting Boros Garrison kind of implies that they have another Titan in hand, but we can survive a Titan in hand, I think. And then Pure for the 7 months. 7 months of surviving best modern player in the world. I'm not the best modern player in the world. I'm just a tribute. But thank you for your resubscription. End of turn Summoner's Pact for Dryad of the Elysian Grove. End of turn. Is this to stop me from conniving? Am I dead to this? They need an untapped green source, which we know they have a forest. I don't think I'm dead. I think I'm likely dead. So they can get 2 Valakits, which is 12 damage, divided as they choose in chunks of 3. They do or don't have another land to play. Yeah, they still have a land drop. So we need to play around 6 more damage potentially, which I don't know that I'm going to be able to do. Well, I guess I just easy don't block then. Yeah, I need to top deck something. They kill my Shredder. They've got 1 card in their hand. I guess we need another Asmo. They pop the Relic. That's fine. Yeah, it's probably gonna be Asmo or. I guess maybe now Time Sieve drawn off the Connive would give us another out here. Oh my! Oh, there's another Asmo. And we're gonna be able to make 3 food tokens. Really? To be able to kill Titan and Dryad. No way. No way. It's pretty unreal. Yeah, Ledger Shredder, baby. That's the power of the Shredder. Okay, this is also, like, really fine. Kill this now to play around the fetch land. Why main phase Relic? Yeah, it was just a mistake. It was like a big mistake to main phase the Relic. They were maybe looking for like a Boreal Grazer or something to like deal me 6 more damage, but that line didn't even make sense because that wasn't lethal. Kill your Titan. If they cast another spell, we get to Connive. We drew Time Sieve? We drew Time Sieve, huh? Can get the 4th cookbook. Oh, I guess the 4th cookbook's dead already? I milled it over with Emry. Okay, that's a little worse. Guess we get Nihil Spellbomb. Play the Time Sieve. Cookbook, and then we maybe don't. We'll just attack and see. After we attack, I think. Oh, they just concede. Okay. Spear by some breathing room. I don't think breathing room's that relevant. We get that. We get draw a card off the Spellbomb after sacking it to the Time Sieve. Okay, up a game somehow. I did cut the Fulminators from the board, thinking like this matchup specifically was like pretty fine because you have Asmo and you're and like most Titan decks aren't playing Karn at the moment, but like your Tron matchup's like way worse because of Karn. But I usually do want to bring in the Thoughtseizes, is cut the Aether Spellbomb, Nihil Spellbomb, Shadowspear, and then I think some number of Bone Shards might be okay. Like you mostly want Asmo to kill their stuff, but like I think that like 1 Unearth for 1 Bone Shards is fine. Maybe 2nd Unearth for 2nd Bone Shards. I don't think you want Prismatic Ending. Well, I guess it's about if they have Needle. Cutting Aether seems rough. It's not rough. Like you don't want to bounce Primeval Titan. It's like that's usually just not like a good plan. Like you're basically always getting Cookbook in this matchup. Yeah, maybe you actually do want a couple endings because they might have Needle. Then Unearth is also like not that good in this matchup, I guess. Just 2 endings seems fine. This has been quite the league. Quite the like no nonsense, just powerful decks. Good luck, Spike. The league. I can keep this. On the draw, I can keep this. For another 2 months, thank you. Would like to Thoughtseizes turn 1 here. That's a very good draw for me. I don't think I want to draw a Fountain. I'll just shuffle that away. Fetch Shock Thoughtseize. Expedition Map, Summoner's Pact. Guess we take the Pact. Esper Mentor is my backup deck. It's possible we play this deck all day today though. But Esper Mentor is my second preps deck. Yeah, how I usually like to do it is have like 1 deck, like 2 decks I'm like really excited to play, and then like potentially something we can play as a backup if things fall apart a little bit. But I don't actually have a backup today. But I don't expect like this or Mentor to like fall apart, and I'll need one today. But we will definitely play more Esper Mentor this week, maybe tomorrow. I've got a couple other things I'm like messing around with, working on. A lot of irons in the fire at the moment, which is always how I like it. Love to draw a Daredevil or Emry. Maybe Bauble. No, we should Bauble them. Okay. I think I will play Time Sieve and Cookbook. It's maybe not great to play Time Sieve, but if we draw a Daredevil off of the Bauble draw or at all, we'll be pretty happy to have it out there. Well, I guess I have to kill this. Now they're gonna have an amulet, which isn't great. Rent a boy with the 4 months. Thank you. That's a really good draw, though. That is a game-winning draw if we draw Daredevil next turn, I guess, but just kind of good in general. Making a token main phase. Playing an Amulet of Vigor. Playing a tap Simic Growth Chamber. So the hand is Celestia, Sanctuary, Urza Saga, Mystery card. So it is definitely a problem here that we just don't have the extra card in hand to Manufactor. We can maybe go Giganta in hand next turn. Is there any way I can sack my Time Sieve? I'm just like one artifact short of like sacking Time Sieve being good. 1 mana short of sacking Clue Token for second Cookbook activation for the win. How much pressure do I feel continuing to play new decks versus continuing to work on decks I have popularized? I don't know. It's like kind of even, I guess. But like the reality is like I get like pretty burned out or bored if I just am playing the same decks constantly. So like I'm usually having more fun if I'm trying a lot of different things. And me enjoying the stream and me having a good time also usually directly translates to the stream being better overall. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Though, with the 14 months, thank you. Love your Naya deck on YouTube. Yeah, I've been liking that deck a lot too. It's like usually like if I can be playing new things and brewing, and if I have ideas that I've been working on and playtesting off stream, like that's basically always what I want to be doing. Obviously, like I want to play more than like one league with a new deck on stream, but you know, like I want to be like just always like trying new things and innovating and just kind of like throwing the ideas out there for you guys to mess around with and enjoy. But just like the reality with how how Magic works and how hard it is to brew competitive decks in Modern, it's not the most realistic thing to always be doing. Okay, I don't know that I died to this. Yeah, I really want to put Obscura Charm in a deck. I almost pulled the trigger on like playtesting a General Rockerick build with a bunch of charms, but boy did it just like look not that good. Explain why going Esper instead of staying with traditional Dimir mana bases missed the deck tech. It's not like super duper deep, but the reality is like people are expecting this deck a bit more. And I've actually found like a pretty disproportionate number of my losses have either been to a Pithing Needle against opposing Urza Saga decks or like a fast Hammer Time start. I've been losing to those more so than like Rest in Peace or Sanctifier in fact, although like Hammer Time is like kind of like has all of those things. They have Saga, they have Needle, they can have Rest in Peace Sanctifier. Sanctifier is like not even that hard to beat, and like neither is Rest in Peace to be honest. But it's like specifically Pithing Needle is a problem. Fast Hammer Time starts can be a problem. So like just splashing for ending in the sideboard that can deal with everything, all of the problem cards, and also getting access to Teferi seems like a really good way to go. Certainly not like a mandatory way to go, but a solid way to go. They got Bajuka Bog. Why did they get Bajuka Bog here? It almost feels like a misclick. Thoughts on 1-3 artifact lands in the deck. I think you should play 0 artifact lands in the deck. This deck wants all of its lands to enter untapped. There are no untapped artifact lands in the format that are not colorless. You can't afford more colorless lands because you're already playing Urza Saga. I have a lot of colors here. Artifact lands also have like no synergy in the deck besides like making your Urza Saga tokens bigger and like making Emry cost 1 less. And I don't actually can you play artifact lands off Emry? I don't think you can, but if you can, that's like some added synergy. But they're not even like that synergistic here. Like you don't have Thought Monitor, you don't have Urza, you don't have Nettle Cyst. Time Sieve Sack? Yeah, sure. Not a big synergy though. Tell Athena she is a good, beautiful girl. I always do. Yeah. I'll pull up the Twitter thread in a second actually. But so yeah, me and Esther, we never had any puppy pictures of Athena. Because she was always, well, we adopted her when she was like 6, 7, 8 months old. I'm not sure exactly, to be honest. Okay. They had Force of Vigor, but they didn't play around Gigantha. So we'll go sec this. And then keeping the foods around is kind of valuable to kill Titan. I think I need to keep at least 1 food. It's like Clue, Treasure. I guess I'm getting another Trigger here. But the original owner sent us some puppy pictures of Athena yesterday, which we were very happy to receive. Need another Time Sieve. Yeah, we have one more look at another Time Sieve. I don't think we have any other outs. Because we can kill this, but this is just too big. Alright, going to game 3. Close game. Almost beat Cultivator Colossus Primeval Titan. Just couldn't also beat Force of Vigor green card. You didn't click on the cookbook that was getting destroyed? I didn't? Oh no. I thought I did. I definitely meant to. So we should have had another cookbook in play? You guys sure? Because I still had a cookbook in play. Did I have 3 cookbooks? Okay, let's keep this. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, hold the Bauble for turn 2 Emry Urza Saga. I clicked during the prompt and you sacked another treasure and said bummer. Obviously, misinput. Take the amulet here. How we win first game? We drew really well, and Asmo killed both things in one turn. But yeah, this is we got some puppy pictures of Athena that we've never had before. Never seen these until last night. But her face had so much like her face is like very like gray now, but her face when she was a puppy and when I first got her was really black. And when you look, this is a picture of the day when I first got her, and like her face was like so dark and she looks so different when she was younger. But this is what she looks like now. Old content. Sweet dog. Milled over 2 Daredevils. Yeah, her ears got so bigger too. You plan on playing bottle? I really dislike the body double reanimator deck. Like just adding like, like you need Alter Dementia, you need body double, you need Vesperlark. It's just such a card intensive combo. Okay, but Yukabog gets my Daredevils, but thankfully I had the foresight to not sack the Bauble, so I still have Emry Bauble going. Not the end of the world. So I don't have any white mana to exile the amulet. It's kind of unfortunate. Also kind of got Thoughtseize bugged a little bit. Guess I'm just making a token this turn probably. Could maybe be fine to play Time Sieve though. So probably gonna play their Dryad this turn. Godless Shrine on 1 would have been better. No, Godless Shrine on 1 doesn't let me go Thoughtseize into Urza Saga Emry. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but I think you might be wrong, chat. You know I hate to say the W word. Shaka, the 11 months, thank you. Another Dryad on top. We're going to prioritize ending this amulet this turn, which I can get a Springleaf Drum potentially. Though I sure would like to not have to, so I'm hoping that they Besage you my Saga. Although I guess, you know, I could just get the drum. Never mind. It doesn't really change anything. Okay. Okay, what if I go Unearth, get back Bauble, cast Emry to see if we draw something to unearth? Which we do in Academy Manufactor. We have a cookbook for next turn, so we can go Unearth Manufactor, get back Daredevil, ending Amulet of Vigor. And I guess they just block. Oh, they bounced the bog. That's right. I mean, we still get the construct token in play, but you're right that they get to exile my cookbook. I still think it's good to just try to like find something to unearth this turn, though. If I want to brew, is it Breach deck with Shredder? Could it be better without Sagas? I think it's probably better with Sagas. I know that Titty Pills has been playing a decent amount of Breach with Shredders, and I know that she's posted some lists. I don't know if she has like an exact 75 that she likes the most, but she did tweet yesterday that she's like really liking that deck. And she and Zach Allen, I'm not sure who their other teammate was, but she and then Zach Allen, who I was on a team with at the team NRG in Chicago a few months ago, they were on a team with someone else who I wasn't familiar with, and they won the tournament, which was really cool. Yeah, I like Zach a lot. I like Titty Pills a lot. It was really cool to see them take it down. Zach was just like the nicest guy you ever met in your entire life. Is there a reason we didn't cast the Emry, get the ETB trigger, legend roll, the new one, to wait for the mill? We didn't cast Emry, get the ETB trigger. Okay, I did those two things. Legend roll, the new one, to wait for what we mill. It doesn't matter which one you legend roll, because you've already activated the first one. Oh, you wanted to maybe cast something else off the other Emry. Maybe that was better. No. We did this. We had to do it this way. So for the second Emry to be 1 mana, I think was more important. I think that was more important. Okay, we kind of bricked a little bit here. So they have Teleria West, 3 mana transmutes, and then any untapped land lets them Titan. But what can we do about that? Asmo's on top. I need that Asmo. Now I guess I can actually... Oh, I can't even cast it. Yeah, I can't even cast it. I can go Time Sieve, Bauble, sack all of my artifacts. That seems like not a winning line at all. Let's see what they're drawing. Untap land to kill me. But I don't feel like I've got really any other line here. I think I will draw the Asmo, but not feeling great about it. It's not a kill. It's not like effectively a kill, but or not like. Dude, 2 Asmos so rough. It's not like literally an immediate kill, but it's it might actually be right. They have 12 damage. No, they put me to 1. Okay, maybe right. Although if they have another land in their hand, it is also, yeah, it is like way more than 14. But they don't have another land in their hand. They don't have any more cards in their hand. Yeah, and they get to kill my board, which is like I don't know how I win if they kill my board here. I guess if I draw Cookbook, I get to go. So they should, yeah. And they also get to give me 3, take me for 4. I get to go Cookbook, Asmo. I can put 3 cookbooks into play next turn if I draw a cookbook, which is like just kind of like I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see what we draw. I think we have to draw a cookbook to like even have a chance, but there's maybe like another draw I'm missing. It doesn't get the job done. Can't cast the Asmo. Giganta can't save us. Sad. They had Vesuva in deck. What does Vesuva do for them here? Yeah, Castle Garenbrig strikes again. All right, big sad, but pretty good league. Pretty tough league too. Hard to feel like too bad about 3-2ing a league of Living in Murktide, Omnath, Hammertime, Titan. Vesuva copy, bounce was lethal with extra land drop. So they go.